Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Precast Chalk Talk. My name's Hagen, and this is a special guest today, Colin Butler with Peikko North America. We have a really cool project. We've been on site once before, but I'm bringing in Colin because Colin and his team and his company have a particular product that plays an integral role to the success of this building and this structure. They call it the DELTABEAM. In fact, we have this really kind of cool little model here that we're gonna play with.
The DELTABEAM, in its simplest terms, is a steel and concrete composite slim profile beam that has an integrated fire resistance. That is really the simplest way you can look at it.
What Colin just stated, I can't even repeat. So it's easier for me to point to it and kind of show you. So what Colin's holding is what the typical cross section of this DELTABEAM looks like. But what you're gonna see and what you won't see on site exactly, because we're gonna be walking underneath some of this. This is a picture of a Peikko beam, a DELTABEAM project, where, and it's a really good example, you've got a hollow core floor deck where the hollow core floor is setting on the beam. So, you know, basically this beam is like right here, okay? And the hollow core floor that Mid-States manufactures goes right here. So you can see we're gonna have first floor all the way around is gonna be precast wall panels. They're gonna be insulated, and in some cases not, but there's going to be parking on the first level. Mm-hmm. And then from there, we're going to set columns, beams, precast beams on the perimeter of the building, but internal. So when you go inside this floor, it's going to be one of Colin's DELTABEAMs. And so you can see this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decks of hollow core. And here's a good look at this top level where you'd be standing on the floor looking down. You can kind of see the profile of the DELTABEAM, much like what we were looking at in this picture here.
Most of the projects that we do in the United States are kind of mid to getting closer to high rise in some situations from a variety of different applications. The kind of decision factors that lead to integrating DELTABEAM on a project primarily revolve around either overall cost savings due to some kind of constraint, or all the way to just total building height savings. So any situation where there is a height restriction in any given area, to be able to have additional floors within the same maximum height of the structure are some of the kind of key decision factors that go into integrating DELTABEAM. One of the design ideas behind the DELTABEAM is to match the profile of whatever the flooring system is going to be. So for hollow core, 8 to 12 inches of depths are really the main ones that we see in terms of pretty good span to depth ratio and pretty commonly manufactured depths all across the United States.
It maintains and matches the height of the hollow core. So the hollow core slides in, rests on this ledge here, which is this bearing ledge. Mm-hmm. Therefore, this overall thickness doesn't have to be, you know, in reality, this is what, 8 inches, 10 inches, 12 inches thick, yep, right, in the field.
Yep.
And in other cases, where you're not using the DELTABEAM and you're using a more standard I-beam, mm-hmm, right? That I-beam is going to be
18 to 36 inches. It's going to be pretty easily.
It's going to be quite a bit deeper, and yes, therefore, what happens is this floor plate, instead of being 10 inches, becomes 36 inches. And this is really important because what happens is the reason we're talking about cost savings is the higher this building goes, the more glass you got to buy, the more exterior wall system you have to buy, the more interior wall system you have to buy.
100%.
Isn't that kind of what we're driving at?
I find this is a very overlooked area in terms of initial cost budgeting, particularly from an early design perspective, where there's not a strong consideration to what that additional height on a structure costs. And there can be some pretty significant savings by saving 1 foot to 1.5 feet per floor on any structure that can really easily translate into an overall more successful, more financially viable
And it may not seem
project.
that exponential at 5 stories, but it certainly is at 40 stories. One of the other inherent advantages that I'm not sure that many U.S. architects, builders, developers really focus on, and that is noise attenuation. Mm-hmm. I do want to bring that up here because sound attenuation is a big deal. From floor to floor, you've got Absolutely. Units, condos, apartments, whatever that looks like. It's nice to have a very quiet, private space.
Absolutely.
Anyone who knows what it's like to live in an apartment building where you don't have good sound attenuation, it's not as enjoyable, you know? So this system, because of the precast concrete and the hollow core floor system, mm-hmm, and the way that it goes with the DELTABEAM gives, I think, that end user, our customer's customer, the best possible space to live in.
I would agree 100%.
So next session, we're going to go out to the job site, and we're going to spend some time with Colin out there. Thanks, Colin.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you out on the job site.